Hi, I'm DG Dino from Jinxie Games, and this tutorial is about how you can make a trivia quiz using XML. Let's get started. But first, I would like to thank everyone who purchased my Playmaker samples on the asset store. I would also like to ask if you could rate my asset and maybe give a review. Again, thank you. In this tutorial, we will be using an XML file, so we're also gonna use Datamaker. And Datamaker you can get on this website or from the ecosystem. I will add the link in the description below. If you don't know what XML is, you can check out this website or you can search for some XML tutorials on YouTube. Okay, let's play the game so we can see what's going on. The first category selected is art, and when I click on a different category, you can see that art is deselected and movie is selected. And I can press play to start playing. Now I have my question here and I have a 50-50 button, and this button, when I click this, is gonna remove 2 answers that are wrong, and I'm gonna have 2 answers left. I can use this only once in the game, and maybe it's better it would be removed or change the image, but I didn't do that for now, as the main thing we're gonna learn here is for the XML. So also this timer, which I was planning, I didn't add, and the lives also. All these things shouldn't be too hard to implement, and else there are some other easier tutorials which will help with this. And if you really want, you can request me to do a tutorial for that. Now let's answer this. What is the favorite food of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? And of course it's pizza. And you can see the button became green. And now I have the next question. And let me press 50-50. Nothing happens anymore. And the next question is, in the 1997 American science fiction comedy Men in Black, which actor played Agent K? Well, I know it's Tommy Lee Jones, but let's say it's Michael Jackson. And it's wrong. And then the button became red. Next question. In the Harry Potter series, what is the name of Harry Pet's owl? And I know it's Hedwig, so let's get this one. And I have no more questions, so that's why it went back to main menu. And of course you can have a game over screen and stuff, but you can watch other tutorials for that. Now let's stop this and let's have a look at the FSMs. Let me make this bigger so we can see something more. On the first state I only have a transition standing ready, and I do this because I want to get my data first. The first thing I want to do is get some info from my XML file. Let me open this quick. I have my first group here, questions. Then I have category list, and this category is art. And inside it I have my questions. So question ID 1, and then the question and the correct answer and 6 wrong answers, because I want to have some randomness in them. So I'm only gonna get 3 for each question, but it can be other wrong answers. And I also have an explanation. I'm not displaying this in the tutorial, but I am getting the value. And once you have the value, you can easily also show this into a text on your screen. So let's continue. So I have next question here. All the same, the question, correct answer, and wrong answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and explanation. And for art I have 4, and then I have category movie, and inside this I have 3 questions. I have also this question count, but actually I'm not really using it. I'm just counting these questions inside while getting the nodes. And then I have video games. And these are my 3 categories for now. So you can add just new categories and also new questions. And let's get back to the game. Okay. As a source selection, I use text asset. I can also do plain text and drop in everything. And I can also have it in a variable, so I could get it online and then use the variable from that. Or I can use this proxy directly, and let's see, I can do that also like that. So the reference and then the proxy. So, and I have my XML asset dropped in here instead of dropping it in here. And and in memory, I don't have anything in memory yet, so I cannot use that at the moment. So let's place it back to use proxy. Then you can also look here in the preview and you can see everything what you have here. Then for the XPath query, I will search this category list. And so as you could see on this list here, here is a category list, and inside the category list I have everything from the questions and another question and another question and another question, and then category list closed. So that is going to be one group. And so I'm getting all the category lists. So that is going to be this one from art, and then the other one from movie, and the other one from video games. All will be included. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to store this in a XML result in a variable. And also I'm going to use this store reference. This is just a string variable, just so I have the same name for the reference. Then I'm not using a node count here. I don't really need to know how many. And I have a found and a not found event and an error. So I have here also two states with a global transition. If there is something wrong, it will go here or here, depending what's wrong. So that's good for debugging. You don't have to put them in, but it's better. So after I've done this, I will go here, and you will see some errors here now, but the action works fine. There's just a little bug in it, but that will be okay in the future. So here I'm going to use that reference, and let me play this so I can show you what I have as a result in that reference. But instead of the reference, I will look here into this XML. So what I did here, just save in proxy, and just to save this so you can see what I have as a result. So here is a result, category list, art, and all the questions from art, then movie, and video games, and everything inside of it, of course. So now I can get some properties. Let me stop this so it's more easy to see. This action, XML get next node list properties, works similar as other get next actions. What will happen is it will search for something and it will loop for each time that it finds something. So in my case, I have my reference here, and this will get this node list. So what I have been showing here. And in this reference, we're gonna look for the category. So for each category it will find, it will loop through this and get back, and then it will look for the next one. Now I have three categories: art, movies, and video games. So this will loop 3 times, and then it will send the finish event. And each time it loops, it's gonna get the category name here. It's not gonna get everything in the list, only the name. And the reason it's only getting the name is because I have this @ sign here. If I don't have the @ sign, it's gonna give everything what is inside here. So it's not gonna get this question and correct answer and wrong answer, but it's gonna get everything what is inside of that, and it will stick it all together. Let me show you quickly how this works. And here we have the result. And let me loop this once. Oh, we got an error. It doesn't really matter. So I will show you the variable here from category, and as you can see, the question and the answers and also the explanation all put into a single string. So we don't want that. So put this back and put this @ sign, and let's do this again. And now there is no error. And as you can see here, you can see art. Then the next one, movie, video games, and it's ready. I forgot to tell you that you need to store it into a string. So select string here and then place a variable here. And then we can use this later on. In the next state, I'm going to use XML select nodes again, but I'm going to have a larger XPath query. So let me make this larger so we can see. And what I'm looking for now is the category list. And specifically, I'm going to look for this category. So I have just brackets here. Category is quotation mark _ 0 _ quotation mark closing bracket / question. Now this _0 _ this is going to be this variable. So when I play this, it's going to get this category, which I got from here. And so I'm going to search specifically for this art category. And then every question inside this category is going to be counted. And so with this node count, I'm going to know how many questions are inside my category. And here again, I have this found, and not found should be not found, and then error event. Then I'm gonna add this to my hash table. I actually named this wrong because before I had array, so add category to hash. So I'm gonna go to my hash tables here. And a hash table is similar to an array, but instead of only index numbers, you can have keys. So you can name this, and then you have your item. So it's set to int, and I have it pre-filled set now. And as you can see, it's 0 0 0. And normally if I play this, and let me get this away and play. And now you can see movie 3, art 4, and video games 3. So that worked. And let me put a breakpoint again, and we can follow this slowly. So first I'm gonna put this one, and then I got my category art. Then here you can see the real XPath query that is going to be used. So, and this is the one you filled up. Now let's say you have another variable. You can just add another one, and then it's going to be _1_. And you can use any text. You can even make this complete text. So put here art, and then put that into a variable, and then just put here _0_, and that should work. Now let's go to the next one, hash table set. And I'm gonna set this category as a key, and then I have my count here, and my count is 4. And as I have 4 questions in my art category, that is correct. And then loop back, and now it's still art because this action hasn't triggered yet, so unpause again. Then you can see here movie, and then from the movie I will get my count, and my count is 3, also correct. And then go to the next one, my video games, and then it's done. Now let's go back to the game manager. Let me resize this a bit, and let's have a look at the setup state. The first action I have here is UI graphics set color, and I'm going to set the color from my art button, that's going to be this one here, to green, as I know this will be my first selection. Then I use activate game object on the main menu, so this is inside the canvas, and I do this just in case if I would have disabled this while testing our stuff and I forgot to turn it back on when I built the game, so it doesn't matter if I have it on or off. Then I have this same for the question panel, so that's just a play safe that if it's on accidentally it will be turned off. Next I have the set string value, and I'm going to set my category to art, as again I want to be this the first selection, so I need also to know in my category what I have selected. Next I have set bool value, and that is for the random category active. I will show you later for what it is. And I have also a bool for my fade panel, and this is just because I only want this to happen when I go from main menu to the game. And before I switch the screen, I already set my question, and I only want this fade panel to happen once when I come from main menu to the question, and it's in between that, so if I loop back for the next question it would fade again unless I have this bool, so that's why I have this. I will show you also in a second. Then I have a bool for my 50/50 because I want this 50/50 only to be used once per game. So when I come back in the main menu, this will be set to false again. And let's look to the listener. Here I have a UI button. Again, this is for Playmaker 1.9 Plus, and I've selected specify game object as I'm here on my game manager and not on my button. Then I drop in my button play, and then event target is set to self, so you can also put your button action on the button itself and then target a different FSM if you wish to. So this is quite nice. Then I have send event play, and I'm gonna go to this next action, but let me go first here and show you this one. Let me close this one. This one is a custom action which I made, and the original is called UI button array, but I have added an index which is very powerful and usable. And let me explain a little bit. So first I had these buttons, so I have here 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons, and for each button I had a different event. So I needed also for each event a different state. So if I would have like 20 buttons, I needed to place 20 states, and it gets messy. So I've checked the action and noticed that I can use this index. And what does this index do? It does a similar thing as for an array. So this is actually set in an array. So this will be index 0, this will be index 1, 2, 3, and each one you will add, it will go higher and higher. So I know which button is clicked by getting this click index. So if I would be pressing on the fourth button here, this would be index number 3, as an index always starts with 0, so the first one would be 0. And I will show you also in a minute how you can use this. Next we have this get buttons. So I have an array here with my buttons, and you can see here button art, movie, video games, and random. And if you can notice this, element 0 is art, then we have element 1 is button, and I have the same here, so art, button, video games, and random, so they match with the index. And in the next actions I will show you why. So here I'm just getting my first button, and I store this in my button reset. Then I have my reset button here, and what I'm doing is just set the color back to white, then go back to the next one, make it white, next one make it white, next one make it white. So I make them all white first, and then I go, when it's done, to set button. And here I'm using array get, and I have my button array again, and here I'm using this click index. So from the button I clicked on this UI. So let's say if I click video games, this is gonna be 0, 1, 2. Then on here, that's gonna be 0, 1, 2. Button video games. Then I'm gonna store this in this button clicked. And now I have the button that I have clicked. And so now I don't need like a lot of states for this, but can do this with only a single state. Then I have this UI graphic set color, and I'm gonna set the button that was clicked to green. Then I'm gonna get child, and the child name is text. So let me show you here. Each button have this text, and that's where the text will be displayed. So I'm getting this object. Then I'm gonna use this UI text get text. So I'm gonna get the text what is used on this object. So if it's art, movie, video games, or random, so it's gonna get this text, and that one I'm gonna use later on here in the game when I start to play. So after I got my UI text and changed the color of the button, I go back to my listener, and when I press a different button, it will do the same loop again and change the color from the one was pressed. Then when I press play, I'll go to the next state here, and in here I'm gonna activate my fade panel. That's gonna be this one, and this panel is just a simple empty image, or called background actually, and it's just black, and I'm gonna fade this just to have some animation. And also, if you use an image and you have the raycast on, then anything what is behind cannot be pressed, and that's why also I activate and deactivate it. So let's go back here. So I'm activating the object, and then I use this float interpolate just to animate the fade. So from float 0 to 1, then in time is 1 second, and then I'm gonna store this float into a fade. And when it's done, I have this finished event. Then I have also here the UI graphic set color, and I'm gonna set the alpha. So that's what I just showed you. That's what I will manipulate with this float, going from 0 to 1, and not to 256. It has to be 0 to 1. And I have set this every frame. And then when it's done, it goes to the next state. And in here, I'm gonna deactivate the main menu, and I'm gonna activate the question panel. And let me do this manually. I'm gonna activate this, deactivate this. Now we can see our question panel. But normally while playing, you will not see this. You will see a black screen. As the fate panel, its alpha is set to 1. Now on the next state, we have a string compare, and it's gonna compare my category to random. So if it's random, I have to do something different, as I need to go through each category. So that's why I need to check this. And let me first do the set category one, and then I will show you the random one. Let me move this a little bit. And let me give us some more space here. Okay. Now I have the set category, and I'm gonna go to the question count. In here I have a set bool value, and I'm gonna set my reset variable to true, and I'm gonna use this later on an action called ArrayList getNext, and I will explain you then also why. Then I have a hash table get, and I'm gonna get the count from my category. So the category that I selected, I will get the amount of questions. And so with the data collector, I collected this already and placed this in the hash table. So art would be 4, movie would be 3, and video games would be 3 also. In the random question, I have this bool test, and I'm gonna see if random cat active is true. And this is just to check if I have chosen random as a category. And if not, I'm gonna continue here. So if it's true, it's gonna go this way, and if not, it's just gonna go to the next one. So I did this because I want to reuse this instead of making duplicates of this to do the same. So that's why I use this. So if it's random, then it's just gonna get something here and then continue. And if it's not, it's just gonna continue from here directly. Okay, then we have this get next random int, and it's gonna have this count as a pool and also as a series. And what this does is, let's say we have 4, so my count will be 4, and the series will also be 4. So if I would have like 1 in this series or 2, it would only go and loop 1 time or 2 times. So it depends how many times you put in here. That's how many times it's going to get something from this count. And why I use this get next random and not just a get random, because I want, for example, if number 1 was already selected, I don't want it to be possible to get number 1 again. So number 1 must be gone. So there should be 3 left. So number 2, 3, and 4. So the next time it goes back here, it can only select 2, 3, or 4. So if, let's say, it would take number 3, then 2 and 4 would be left until nothing is left. So that's why I use the get next random int and not the standard get random int, because I use these for the questions to get them from the XML file. I will store this in this next question variable, and then the loop event will trigger and go to the next action. And in here you can see I have 4 activate game objects for button 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that are these buttons. And the reason I do this is because if I use the 50/50, 2 buttons will be deactivated, and I don't know which ones, so I just activate them all to be sure that all buttons are active. Next, I have this set FSM int, and I will feed this next question int variable to my data collector as a question ID, and I will also feed the category here to my data collector. Then I have again a set bool value for the reset, and that is also for the get next actions. I will show you in a minute. Then also I have this reset for the random button. I will also show you in a minute where that is. And then I'm gonna send an event to my data collector to get the question. And after I got the question, I will have this question ready to go to the next one. But let me go first back to the data collector now. And I will receive the get question event and go to this state. And in this state, I have 2 set bool values, one for reset and one for reset flag. And I'm gonna set them to true. And I'm gonna use them in the next one and in the other one somewhere here. I will show you in a minute. So here I have the reset, and as you can see here, I have an in-pool count of 6. These are for the 6 wrong answers, but I'm only gonna get 3 of them, and then it's done. But I just have this reset to be sure that it's resetted, and normally it should be fine, but it's better to set a reset if you want to be sure that it's reset. So it's up to you if you want to use it or not. So I have this pool of 6, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I'm gonna get that 3 times, and I will store this in the next row, and I will loop this with the next event. So the first time I get, let's say, number 4, then from here I will go here, and I just noticed that I didn't name my states here. So let me pause quickly and I will rename them and then start again. Okay, so usually I always name my states, but somehow it slipped away from me, and probably because I did like 10 things in the same time again. Anyway, sorry about that, and let's continue. So I got number 4 from here, and I go to the next state, and in this state I have this iterate. And this iterate action works similar as a get next action. So you have the start index and an end index and an increment, and this increment is nice. You can also do a different kind of increment if you want. So now it's incrementing by 1, so which means that I'm going to start by 1, then I'm going to loop, and then I have 2, and then I'm going to loop, and I'm going to have 3, and then the next loop is going to be finished because it ends at 3. And again, I have this reset flag here just to be sure that this is reset when I need to use this again. And I'm going to store this in this index. And then I'm going to use this here in this int switch. And here I'm going to compare my int, and if it's 1, it's gonna send an event to wrong 1, if it's 2 to wrong 2, if it's 3 to wrong 3. Because I have only 3 wrong answers, and then I can go here, and then I do this build string, and I have wrong answer plus the number. So the number I got from here, that was number 4. So wrong answer number 4 is going to be stored here in P wrong 1. And as you can see, for example, here, wrong answer 4. So that must be the same name as here, because I'm going to use that to search this wrong answer in my XML. So in the second one is the same, but then P wrong 2, and the third one is P wrong 3. And when I finished looping this, I'm going to go here and get them from the XML. Let me just minimize this. And then I have this action XML select single node. And I can use this single node because I'm gonna use a search and have only from a single question. So I know there will not be multiple questions, and I can use these single nodes to get the properties directly in here. So let me make this bigger so we can see something more. And let's look at the expat query. So first of all, I have this again, data collector, and into my questions reference. So that is this one. Then we'll look to the expat query, and this is category list at category is _0_, so variable 0, and then \question at ID is _1_, and that's going to be the variable _1_, and that's the question ID. So I'm gonna get this category and the question ID, which I got sent from the game manager. And this way I know which question I have to look in. So let's say I have category art and question ID 1. So then we would have this category art, question ID 1, and then it's gonna look everything what is inside. So the question, correct answer, wrong answers 1 to 6, and explanation. So down here I'm gonna use 6 properties, and I have the question. So I'm gonna get this question. So what's inside the question? Let me go down here so you can see something in it. So I will get this question into a string. So type string, the question, then the correct answer. So also in a string, everything will be in a string. So this will be the correct answer. And then I will have these 3 wrong answers. And they are depending on this random I set. So it can be answer 1, 3, and 5, but it can also be answer 6, 4, and 1. So as long as 3 answers are taken, and because of the random I made before, it depends on the randomness. And then also I will take the explanation, but I'm not really using this inside this game now, but you can use that. Let's say after somebody got the correct answer, you can hide the buttons and then show this explanation. That's all up to you. So I have this found event, not found an error, and if everything is right, it will go here to the next state. And in here I have some set FSM strings, and I'm gonna feed the result I got to my game manager. So in here, and I set my gameflow FSM name and then explanation, and I'm gonna store the explanation I got from the XML. Then for the question, just the same, and also for the correct answer I'm doing this. Then I have an array list that I will use inside my game manager, and this will hold my answers. And Let me show you here. So first I have an array list clear. So I'm going to clear this answer list, and we have this here. It's empty now, but with each question there might be something left. So I need to clear that every time when I want to put a new question. So I have this clear. Then I'm gonna add on index 0. I'm gonna add this correct answer. So the first one I'm gonna do is the correct. And then it doesn't really matter which wrong answer, but it's now set to wrong answer 1, 2, and 3. And the way I do this, so array list, drop this in, then reference answers, type of string, and variable wrong answer 3, and same for all the other ones. As long as the correct answer is on 0, then it's good. And also you have to set this as an action sequence to be sure that the array is cleared and everything, and no strange things will happen. Once that's done, we're gonna send the event back to our game manager. So game manager, game flow, and question ready. And I use send event by name because I don't want to use any global events or global variables. So that's why I use event by name and not the standard event. And I hope that in one of the future versions it will be able to be done also with the standard send event. But anyway, for now I have to do it like this. Okay, so we're finished here, and we go back to the game manager, and here we will receive this event question ready. Let me just change the color from this so that it's easier to see something is happening here. And when the question is ready, we can set up our buttons. So I will be using here an array list get next, and I will get each answer. So from this array list reference answers, then I have a reset, and again that's just to be sure that the action is reset. Then I have my start index 0 and end index 0. I can also set this end index to 3 because I know there are 4 of them always, but it's okay. You can do it, or you can just leave it like this. It will just end if the end index is 0. So all up to you. So then I have my loop event next and finish event done. And then I'm storing the string answer here in this variable answer. Then I will go here, and here I have this get next random int. So also I have a pool of 4 and an in series count of 4. So that's for my 4 answer buttons. And again here also I have this reset random button, just to be sure that this action is reset. But normally that should be fine also, but it's always better again to do that. And I'm storing this here in the next button. Then I'm gonna add -1 to this, because an array starts with 0, and in this pool I start from 1. So it's gonna give an answer 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I need a 0, 1, 2, or 3. So that's why I do an int add -1. Then I have this array get, and with the array get I get my answer texts. So I have this array here, answer text fields, and they are connected to these answers. So that will be placed in here. And let's go back to the state. So answer text field, there I'm getting my answer from. And I'm gonna get that from this next button variable, which I got from here above. And then I'm gonna store this answer button into a variable, and then I use UI text set text, and I'm gonna set the text from that answer into the questions or into the buttons. Then I go back, and then I do this for the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. And then when it's done, I will go here to the next one. And in here, I'm gonna set my question. So into my question text, and I'm gonna set this question text variable. Then I have this bool test to check if my fade panel is true or false. And if it's true, it didn't happen yet, so then it will fade, and else it will finish. So what will happen, it will go to this fade, and then I will set this bool value from this fade panel to false. So the next time if it loops there, it will see that it's already been used. So then I have the float interpolate, that's to animate my fading. And then I use UI graphic set color here with a fade set into the alpha, and this will fade from 1 to 0. And then go to the listener. So again, if my bool is true, it will do the fade, and if it's false, it will finish and also go to the listener. And now we can answer our question. In here I have this UI graphic set color, and that's just to make sure that my alpha on my fade panel is 0. And then I'm using activate game object to deactivate the fade panel. And I have to do this, else I cannot press any of the other buttons, as the fade panel overlays the other buttons and raycast is active. I could also just disable the raycast instead of activate game object, but yeah, it's up to you. Then I have UI button on click event, and this is for my 50/50. So if this is pressed, then it sends the 50/50 event, and I will show you that in a minute. I will go first for this one. So here I have again my custom action here, UI button array index, and here I have my buttons 1, 2, 3, and 4. That will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm storing the index, so if I press button 1, it will be index 0, and if I press button 4, it will be index 3, as an array starts always from 0. And then I can use this here to check my answer. So in here I have an array get, and I'm gonna use this click index, and I'm gonna use the array answer text fields, and these are gonna be these text fields here, the objects with the text fields. And so with my index, if I would have answer 2, I'm gonna get the one from answer 2. Then I'm gonna use UI text get text, so I'm gonna get the text what is on this answer text. So now it's standing answer 1, but while playing this will have the answer string. And then when I have this answer string, I'm gonna compare this to the correct answer. So one of the 4 has the correct answer and will be the same string as the correct one here, which I also got from the data collector. And when it's correct, it will give a correct answer, and when it's not correct, it will give a wrong answer. And in here, when it's correct, it will get the parent, and then I will use UI graphic set color to set my button to green, as it is a correct answer. Then I have a wait for 2 seconds, Then I use a send event, and I use a send event here because it's just more clean to see. I could also just do a finish and connect this, but you see the wire is here all around, so I have this as a global, and then I can just send it from here directly without a connection. So that's the only reason why I do it like this. I do that also many times when I make certain things, not so much in tutorials because it might get confusing. But anyway, so it's also up to you if you want to do it like this or just connect them. Then for the wrong answer, I do the same, except I set the color to red. And of course, if you want to, you can do something here that you can lose a life and stuff. Yeah, that you have to try out yourself. Okay, now we will look to the 50-50 first. So first thing I'm going to do is this bool test. I'm going to check if it's used. So if it's used already, then I have to go back and do nothing because I'm not allowed to use it. And if it's not used, I will use this setFSM array because I actually want to copy the answer text field to this 50-50 array. And the 50-50 array is just here on the same object here, but there is not really an array copy action, so I thought I will just use that one, and that should be fine also. So I will copy this, and then I have my answer 1, 2, 3, and 4, just the objects. And in here I'm gonna use the array get random, and I'm gonna use the 50-50 array, and I'm gonna store the value into the answer button, and also I'm gonna store the index. Also, I have no repeat on, so if I need to look back, I will not get the same index again. So it will give me a different answer. Then I have this UI text get text, and I'm gonna get the text from this button or from this answer object. Then I have my string compare, and I'm gonna compare the answer with the correct answer. And if it's a correct answer, I'm gonna retry. So I'm gonna just loop this back to my same action, and this will make sure that it restarts this state. So it's gonna start again with the random, and because I have this no repeat, I will be sure the next one will not be the same, so it cannot be the correct answer anymore. So that would be looping maximum once. So if it's not equal, then it will just continue down here. Then I have my get parent, and I'm gonna deactivate that button. And also I'm gonna delete it from the array. That's why I make a copy, because I need to delete it, because I want to do this a second time. So here I'm doing actually exactly the same, but then there is already one less object, so one button is already gone, so it cannot repeat the same button. And that's why I have to do it like this, because else I would have a chance that I have 2 times the answer 2. Even it is disabled, it can still select that one. So that's why I have to do it this way. So this goes exactly the same. And here on the last one, you can see that I have this set bool value 50-50 used and set to true. So if I go the next time again here, I know it's true and it's been used already. So when all questions were asked and there is no more next random, then we have the finish event, and then we will go to this no more question, and what will happen is it will send an event to main menu. So that is again here, and I can do this with the wire or with the send event. Okay, now the only thing we have to look at is how to do this random. So first I will reach here this string compare, and if it's equal then set random, and if it's not equal set category. So now we want to go to the random, and let me make some extra space here. So we will go here, and in here we're gonna first do this array list clear. So I will have this array list here, and this is only for the random used, so I want to make sure that it's clear if I play again. So then also I will use this hash table with the categories, so art, movie and video games. And in here I also have this set bool value, and this random cat active is going to be used here with this bool test to know if random was selected. So here, if it's true, it's gonna go here, but I'll show you in a minute after I've done this part. So next we are using this hash table get next, and I'm gonna get each category from this hash table, and I'm also gonna get the count from them. So now it's 0, but when I start to play, it will give the correct count, so 4, 3, and 3. So in here, so reference category, then I have a loop event and a finish event. And here is the key, so I will get the key name, and then also the type int count. So I will get the name and I will get the count. Then I will use them here. But first I will clear this category. So I have also here for each category an array also. So art, movies and video games. And in here I will place some numbers for the questions, but I will show you in a second. So first I'm going to clear that category. Also I'm going to set this reset bool just to be sure. And then I have an array list add, and I'm gonna add that to that categories reference. So that's gonna be this one. And also I will show you after why. Then when I've done this, I'm gonna use this get next random int, and I'm gonna use that count. So if there were 4 questions, that's gonna be count 4, and also the series count will be 4 also, because I want each one. And then I'm going to store this in this get next question. And here I have that reset just to be sure, and my loop and finished. And then I'm going to use this array list add, and I'm going to add each number that I got here to this category. So let's say I have art, so then it's going to loop 4 times. And let me place a breakpoint and play this so it's easier to see. Let's select random and play. And now we can look to the array list. And as you can see here, my art is 2, 1, 3, 4. I have 4 questions and they are placed randomly here. And the same for this one, 1, 3, 2. And this one is, this one is 1, 2, 3. And also my categories are set here. So that looks good. And I will show you in a minute why I do this random here. So let me stop this. When I got all the categories from my hash table, I will send this finished event and go here. And in here I have this array list count. And I'm going to count how many categories there are left, but I will show you in a minute why. So if there are none left, then I will send this last question event. And also if less than, that's just a failsafe. And then I will go to this state and send an event to the main menu. So restart on the main menu. If there are still some categories, then I will do this array list get random. and I will get a random category from those that are left there. And I will also get the index from that, as I need that if I need to remove it. Then I have this array list get, and I'm gonna get this value from that category at index 0. So let's say if it's art, I would get from art this index 0. So that would be number 2. And that would be question number 2. So I know now which next question it is. And then I'm gonna remove this at index 0. So what will happen is this one will be removed and everything will move up. So the next time when I go here, item 0 will be this next one. So when I got this one again, that will be removed. There will be 2 left, and this will be the next one, and then this one. And then I will check if this was the last question. So I'll do this array list count to the category. So let's say if it's art, I would look how many is still inside. And when the count is 0, then that was the last question. And if there are still questions, then it will just go here and do the same as with a single question. So get it from the data collector and so on. And if there are no more questions, I will go here and use array list remove at to remove that category from my array list. So that will be here, and then with the index I know which one it is. And then when I go back here next round, I have only 2 categories left, and I can only get this random category, movie and the video games, and art will be gone. So that way I cannot go back again when I have no more questions for that category. Then if all my categories are gone, so then I have a count of 0 here, and then I will go to the menu. Now let's play this one more time, but first let me lock this one, then go to the array list and set live update so we can see what's happening. And let's play. Select the random and play the game. And now you can see that we have all these question numbers already. And then when I unpause, it's gonna get this question, and it took 1 question from art. You could see here there was 1 removed, and that is question number 2. And let's look here. So question ID number 2 is the Van Gogh Museum, and this is the Van Gogh Museum, so it's the correct question. And now we can answer this question, and then it will go for the next one, and it's again art this time. I believe English. Next one. Oh, again art. Louvre, Paris. And now it took from the video game, and this is Japan. Then we took again video game, Konami. Oh no, sorry, Nintendo. Anyway, then we took one from the movies. And now it took art. And here you can also see now it was removed from the category. So now it cannot select anymore from the art. And what we have here from video, no, sorry, from movie. And movie is gone also now. And we have only one question left here after. And this is going to be The Legend of Zelda. And now we will have no more questions, so this will be triggered. And that worked. That was a quite long tutorial. I hope that you liked it and you can learn something from it. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you liked the tutorial, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can support my work by becoming a patron at Patreon, or donate me with PayPal, or purchase my assets on the asset store. You can find the links in the descriptions below.